Well, just stopped by the United States Senate today. A couple members of the PGA Tour, I guess, float chart, not Jay Monahan. He's returning Friday, by the way.
Yeah, he's back from his health scare that he had.
Not His Excellency.
No, definitely not.
Nope, nobody from PIF, Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia. Nope. You got these quotes here, Chris? What just happened here today? Because this subcommittee that is investigating this on Capitol Hill, as part of their discovery, got a lot of emails that went back and forth between the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia and the LIV Tour and on the PGA Tour, right?
Yeah, it was kind of a fascinating day.
And so a lot of the back and forth that went down between those two parties as they were coming to an agreement that was held on CNBC, a conversation on CNBC, announced. There was a lot of asks that we never heard were asked, and there's a lot of shooting of shots. A lot of YOLO went down as both sides agreed to drop lawsuits against one another. And as Jimmy Dunn, right?
Jimmy Dunn.
Of what's his exact title again?
So he is on the PGA Tour Policy Board.
Yeah, he said it's not an agreement, and it's not a merger. It's an agreement to eventually come to an agreement. So there's no, it reminds me, remember of Life of Brian, in Monty Python's Life of Brian. I think they were making fun. They were making fun of the Hebrews, where they were talking about how we people of Jewish faith have difficulties making decisions. John Cleese was playing one of the chief Hebrews, saying, "All right, this calls for immediate discussion." That's basically what they came to an agreement to eventually come to an agreement. And you're seeing a lot of the things that they did not agree to. And a lot of both sides were attempting to get a lot of stuff that they didn't get. Now, what do you got for me over there, Chris?
This is the one that's going to really jump out. This is from April of this year. The PIF and the people who run LIV proposed to the PGA Tour in this proposed merger agreement, whatever you want to call it, that LIV wanted Rory McIlroy and Tiger Woods to own teams in the LIV and play 10 LIV events a year. Tiger Woods, who can't even get through majors right now because of his health, they wanted him to appear 10 times in LIV events worldwide.
That's their best of both worlds presentation given to the PGA Tour leaders. And, I guess Tiger would love to play in 10 golf events, period, these days.
He would probably love that if he was physically able to do so. But come on, LIV events? The guy turned out $1 billion to not join you.
And how about Yasser Al-Rumayyan saying, look, while we're dropping lawsuits and we're coming to an agreement and have an agreement, I'd like to become a director of the International Golf Federation and get a membership at Augusta and the Royal and Ancient. I'd like to get around at Augusta National and wherever the R&A can find me a tee time.
They wanted 2 of the elevated events on the PGA Tour to be branded under Aramco or PIF flags, with one to be held in Saudi Arabia.
But one thing that apparently did happen, that there's a side agreement. There's a double secret probation here?
Double secret probation. So one of the big things that came out when we heard about this, which was called a merger at the time, it's not really a merger.
It's not really a merger.
Was that Greg Norman found out 5 minutes before Jay Monahan and Yasser Al-Rumayyan appeared on CNBC. Well, apparently there's a side agreement that Greg Norman is out, fired, just completely gone. Would terminate Greg Norman's involvement in the partnership. I'm sure this is news to Greg today.
Or it's not. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I'd be shocked if he was privy to that information.
Unreal. I mean, he's so
There's so
look,
much
folks,
to unpack with all these.
and
There's emails
but the whole
back
thing
and
is like,
forth.
how
It's
much of
so odd.
the YOLO? I'm taking my shot at this stuff that was either rejected or might be in a side agreement. Like, how much do we not know? There was a 3-hour hearing today, and typical of our political environment, there were a couple of senators who were wondering why we were talking about this, and not the fact that China is involved in the PGA Tour, and thus, honestly, there were a couple of senators who brought up Hunter Biden's laptop in this hearing. Hey, look, folks, up on Capitol Hill, we're talking about golf, and we're talking about the PGA Tour doing something with foreign investments. And you could sit here and say the subcommittee on Homeland Security has no business looking into it. And I guess you might think it is as much folly as a laptop or something. But this is a serious business here involving the PGA Tour and what is going on in the PGA Tour and what is legal and what is not and what are they up to and what don't we know.
Yeah, billions and billions of dollars.
But good Lord.
Yeah, there's leaks of emails back and forth between Jimmy Dunn and Jay Monahan and this guy Ron Price and Michael Klein about what Jay's role would be. He's essentially going to be in charge. And
it looks like, again, he will decide what's going on with the LIV Tour. That everybody.
And from everything that I've read, it's going to be objective. They're going to actually look at it. Is this an entity that will make money?
Okay.
If it's yes, it will continue.
No, they won't. How can they make money? How can they make money if they are paying the guys on the tour, or they have paid all that? I guess maybe it's a one-time payment to these guys, but nobody's watching it. All those guys that were at Valderrama, at Wilmer's house, right?
I saw him there.
Okay. Saying, we're making capes now, and I can't wait to see kids in capes running around here in 25 and 26. It's just like, hey, the paperwork we're seeing here, it doesn't look good. But I don't know how, but they haven't made an agreement. Like,
there's no actual agreement.
Man, and I also feel for the CNBC reporter who was mentioned in one of these emails saying, hey, let's talk to this CNBC reporter real fast to announce it because it'll be a softball interview. That is like a nightmare for anybody in the interviewing business. To be viewed as a softball interview and being referred to as such in documents that has been revealed by the United States Senate in a business deal that a lot of people are rightfully poking their nose into.
Yeah,
rightfully.
Becky Quick, who ended up not doing the interview, obviously.
Oh my gosh.
Kind of a mess today. It's almost
well,
like
we knew it would be.
But it's almost like a scene on Veep, a sketch on SNL.
Yeah. But I don't. We got to get again Kevin Van Valkenburg on back tomorrow. One of our experts on this subject matter. So, is there a deal or is there not? And what does the deal say?
And when is it going to start? LIV is preparing. Greg Norman was telling people that LIV was preparing for a full 2024 schedule, in the days after the initial announcement. Is that still on?
Line
here?
Jimmy Dunn of the PGA Tour Policy Board, I believe he's the one who went on a couple of podcasts and went on Golf Channel and said, hey, we didn't give away any store. We're the ones still in charge of golf. This is just a new company of investments that coming in from. So we didn't sell our soul to the Saudis. We didn't. And then he says today, there is no merger. There is no deal. There is simply an agreement to try to get to an agreement. What does that mean? So you are in charge? You're not in charge? Or this is just something you did? By the way, if you can't put Humpty Dumpty back together on the lawsuits, then you got to win. Both sides get to win. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.